You could put it on الإخوة الشباب هؤلاء. هذه تكفين.
This is Quranic.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وطيبا مباركا فيه، صلوات الله والسلام على نبينا الأمين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد. Come to the next usul from the usul of the Sunnah. And I have to be honest with you, brothers and you sisters as well. Today's particular fundamental, all of them are important, but I really hope that you pay particular attention to today because it's a big mushkila. A big mushkila. And a lot of times we claim a salafiyah and it's just rhetoric and it's kalam. Whereas Imam Ahmed, rahmatullahi alayhi, whose book we're dealing with, he was punished for today's fundamental. Most of you have not been locked up before. I've been locked up and I've been locked down. Deservingly. No. I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. Because everybody who's locked up is innocent. If you've ever been locked up before, it's not a nice experience. And to be locked up for something you did not do for 2 years and some change. And Imam Ahmed, whose book we're studying, was locked up for 28 months because of this issue today. 28 months. Wasn't with his family, wasn't with his children, was away from the nas, the people. And even while being locked up and locked down, he was still giving dawah to the Sunnah. Dawah inside of the sijn and dawah for the people outside of the sijn against their desires. Because people wanted to revolt against the leader who locked them up. And he kept telling the people, don't do that. Ad-dima, the blood of the Muslims. And had he wanted to utilize and take advantage of the Hamas of the community, he could have done that. But he didn't do it. Today's fundamental is the fundamental of the Quran. He said that the Quran is the kalam of Allah. The Quran is the kalam of Allah. And all of the scholars of the Sunnah who talked about the minhaj and the aqidah of the Salaf, some of them brought some things and left others out. And the others brought those things and maybe they left something out. But it was repetitive. But they all brought this issue right here. Because this is a defining mark of the people of the Sunnah, who are on the aqidah and the minhaj of the Salaf. And that is that the Quran is the kalam of Allah. From Allah it began, and to Allah it will return. And they all mention different things. We're not going to get into all of that. And we're not even going to get deep into the shubahat. The shubahat are those issues that are ambiguous that the people of Kalam took in order to support their way, that the Quran is not the Kalam of Allah. They use philosophy, Plato's and Socrates. And Imam Ahmed was punished for this. And when they brought him to the Khalifa, and then the Khalifa after him, and so forth and so on, he stood his ground. Although they tried to bribe him, he didn't go for that. He stood up and he stood his ground. And as I mentioned in the introduction, This is one of the three reasons why the scholars said he is the Imam of As-Sunnah. At the end of this class, I'm going to ask you guys, what were the other two reasons, inshallah? What were the other two reasons? We mentioned three. One of them is that he stood his ground on this particular issue. They try to bribe him, they try to give him money. When that didn't work, they threatened him with killing him and putting him in prison. He went to prison for 28 months, 2 years and some change. There are 6 issues we want to mention today. And there's a lot of kalam that can be mentioned in this. But given our community, it doesn't make any sense, not from wisdom, to get deep into this and to start making your minds aware of the shubahat of the people of al-kalam, like the Mu'tazila, the Asha'ira, the Rafida, the Ibadiyya in Oman today. People say, no, the Quran is not the speech of Allah. It's not the speech of Allah. The homework assignment, like I gave you before, concerning Abu Idris al-Khawlani, the homework assignment for next week, inshallah, is what is the definition of the Quran with Ahl-Sunnah? That's the homework assignment. What is the definition of the Quran with Ahl-Sunnah? So as it relates to today's asl from the asul, 6 points we want to mention. The Quran is the kalam of Allah. It's from Allah. It's not Muhammad's kalam. It's not Jibril's kalam. It's not the kalam of a jinn. It's not the kalam in someone's interpretation or his imagination. It is the speech of Allah, Rabbil Alameen. First thing, the people of Ahl-Sunnah, the real people of Ahl-Sunnah, listen to this, they make takfir of those people who say that the Quran is not the kalam of Allah. So Ahl-Sunnah, especially from the muta'akhirin, the latter ones, they said, if you don't believe that the Quran is the kalam of Allah, you are kafir. I'm not making takfir of those masakin, those poor African American brothers from the Imams round table in Atlantic City who don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm not making takfir of anybody bi'ayni. I'm not making takfir of those kids over there in the UK who are from the Deobandis who making all this kalam. I'm not making takfir of them. Aini him. I'm not doing that. But the ulama of Ahl-Sunnah, they call themselves Ahl-Sunnah. And that's why I don't want to use that description now. The ulama of As-Salafiyya, the Aqidah of the Salaf. And I don't use that for sectarianism, and I don't use it for that. But those people say they're Ahl-Sunnah, and it's kiddah. You're not Ahl-Sunnah. You people are the people of Ilmul Kalam. First point, the ulama of the Salaf made takfir of the people who said that the Quran is created and it's not the kalam of Allah. Before moving on to the next point, anybody who has any question of their shubahat, wa kathiru mahi, you bring it at the end of the class. I'm going to knock it out of the ballpark with my Louisville slugger. You guys don't know Reggie Jackson. You don't know Reggie Jackson. Hank Aaron. You don't know those people. I'm going to knock it out of the ballpark. Not because I'm smart, not because of me, with whatever shubha you have or you know of, you want to ask them. The ulama, they dealt with it from the Quran and the Sunnah. And that's part of the problem. That when you're new to Islam and you don't know Islam, you hook up with the wrong people and they tell you this stuff, it makes sense. And the blueprint for success is what the companions were upon. And you always have to ask yourself, radiyallahu anhum, did the companions say that? Did the companions do that? Can you show us how the companion looked at this ayat that you're using, playing games with the religion? The Quran is the speech of Allah. It's what He spoke with. Allah. It's what Allah revealed. Jibril brought it to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's the first point. Second point, Ikhwani, is what is the dalil that the Quran is the speech of Allah? There are many proofs of that, many. Because from those shubahat of the people, they say, and I gotta mention this, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim wa min al-khudlani fi ad-din. They said Allah doesn't speak, because if Allah speaks, that means he has to have teeth, he has to have a tongue, he has to have a larynx, he has to have a voice box, he has to have an Adam's apple. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Where you get that stuff from? Allah speaks in a way that befits his majesty, subhanahu wa ta'ala. He comes down in a way that befits his majesty. He has two hands, and both of his hands are right hands, and they befit his majesty. And Allah laughs in a way that befits his majesty. And Allah was to the end of it. Companions never got into this stuff of ilmul kalam of these people. And that's why we mentioned already, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he said, ittabi'u wa la tabtadi'u, laqad kufitu. Follow what the companions did. Follow. And don't introduce anything. Because what they follow and were on, it's enough for you. Don't bring all of this kalam. And I would be doing you an injustice to start mentioning all of these shubahat. And we're just regular people, like the Bedouin in the desert. The Bedouin in the desert, he was walking through the desert and he saw some footprints of a camel. He saw footprints of a camel. He didn't see the camel. When he saw the footprints of the camel, he said, I have no doubt that a camel has passed this way. I don't see the camel, but a camel has passed his way because it's footprints. And I know that the one who created the camel that made these footprints is over the seven heavens in a way that befits his majesty. The Bedouin didn't give all that kalam, fare, philosophy. We don't need all of that stuff. Point number 2. What are some of the proofs that the Quran, if you get it in the Mus'haf, it's the kalam of Allah? The Imam just read surahs of the Quran, it's the kalam of Allah. Although it came out of his mouth, it's still the kalam of Allah. Is that Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَإِنْ أَحَدٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ اسْتَجَارَكَ فَأَجِرْهُ حَتَّى يَسْمَعَ كَلَامَ اللَّهِ. Ya Muhammad, if someone comes to you in this environment that you're in, and they come to seek your protection from the non-Muslims who are against you and possibly against him, then give him protection until he hears the kalam of Allah. You're the one who's going to read the Quran to him. And Allah called it the kalam of Allah. These people said it's not the kalam of Allah because if you read it, it's not from Allah, it's from you. It's just philosophy. And we're not going to get deep into that unless you bring the question at the end. And we're going to knock it out of the ballpark. We're going to knock it out of the ballpark with ayat of the Quran and a hadith of the Nabi. So Allah called your recitation of the Quran the kalam of Allah. It's Allah's kalam. Although you're reading it, you're reading the kalam of Allah. From Allah it began. It didn't begin from you. And to him it goes back. You write on a piece of paper ayat of the Quran. That is the kalam of Allah that you wrote down. The paper is created. The Mus'haf, they put it through the printing press. That's created. But that kalam that is there, that's not the kalam of Allah. Get out of here with all of that kalam fari. What you brought to the table is kalam fari. From what shows us that it is from the kalam of Allah, and I really need your attention right now. This is important. Allah Azza wa Jalla mentioned in the Quran, Ala lahu al-khalqu wal-amr. Ala lahu al-khalqu wal-amr. Tabarakallahu Rabbul Alameen. Verily to Allah belongs the creation, al-khalq, all of the creation. And to Allah belongs al-amr, the command. Glory to Allah, the Lord of all the worlds. Verily to Allah belongs the khalq, all of the creation. And to Him belongs the amr. They're not one and the same. That wow, al-khalq wal-amr shows us two different things. Two different things. Ja'a abdi wa nasir. Wa sulaim wa shu'aib. Abdi came, Nasir came, Sulaim came, Shu'aib came. Are they the same people, one and the same? They're not the same people. Verily to Allah is the creation. That's something. Wal amr, something else. To Allah belongs the creation. And to Allah belongs the command. What is the command? What is the command? It's the kalam of Allah. إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون. That's the amr of Allah. Verily, the affair, if Allah wants, is if He wants something to happen, He says, His kalam, He says, be, and it is. The ayat said, to Allah belongs the creation and His command. In the month of Ramadan in this masjid, I told you, brothers, Allah created everything in creation, everything by saying, kun, everything. He said, be, everything, be, and it came into existence. His amr, His command. But there were four things that He created with His own two hands, and both of His hands are right hands. The companions didn't say, how both of His hands are right hand? What is that? He said that the hearts of the slaves, all of them, are between the two fingers of Ar-Rahman. They didn't say, how two fingers? What are you talking? They didn't say that. They just accepted it. And that's how we have to accept it. Follow and don't introduce and don't make up stuff. Do what the companions did. Shut your mouth and follow the way. The four things that Allah Azza wa Jalla created with His own hands. He created the Arsh, His throne. He created the Jannat, the Jannah, with His own two hands. He created Adam with His own two hands. And He created the pen with His own two hands. He said to Adam or to Iblis, when Allah told the Malaika, bow down to Iblis. They all bow down to Adam. And they all bowed down. All of the angels except Iblis. Allah said to Iblis, Ma mana'aka an tasjuda lima khalaqtu biyadayya. What prevented you, Iblis, from bowing down to the one that I created with my own two hands? Iblis said, you created me from fire and you created him from the dirt. I'm better than him. Iblis didn't understand. Allah ordered you. So it's not for you to ask any questions, like Bani Adam. The jinn and Bani Adam, we have our own wills. We can do or we may not do. The Malaika, they just do what they're told to do. That's it. So in this dunya that we have, Allah created everything by saying, be. The heavens, the earth, the waters, the fish, everything that you can think of. He created it. He said, be, and it came into existence. The trees, the air, everything. But there were four things He created with His own two hands. And as a result of that, those four things have a special place in Al-Islam. He has the khalq. To Him belongs the creation and the command. They're two different things. The command is Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, speaking and bringing things into existence. That was at the beginning of the creation. But later on, He also said, be to other things. إنما مثل آدم عند الله كمثل عيسى خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. The example of Isa to Adam, the example of Adam is like the example of Isa. Allah said to Adam, be and he is. Allah Ta'ala said to Isa, be and he became. Allah said, be, and he came into existence, to the existence. So the things, everything in creation, except those four things, everything. Now, there are other proofs. We're not going into that. There are other proofs. You bring the question at the end of the class. There are other proofs. Point number 3. The first point, As-Sunnah, the people of the Salaf, especially from the Muta'akhirin, anyone who said that Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah, that the Quran is not created, he's a kafir, out of the fold of Islam.
That it is created. That it is created.
Anyone who says that the Quran is created, they said he's a kafir. Number 2, what are the proofs? Many proofs from the Quran and the Sunnah. Point number 3. Listen to this. This is very important. Number 3. There is a word in Arabic called al-isti'adha with an ayn. Al-isti'adha. I'm going to say it and you'll say it with the al-ta'rif. The Sufi dhikr. Together. Al-isti'adha. That's weak. That's weak, Masjid As-Sunnah. Al-isti'adha. Some of you not moving your mouths. Al-isti'adha. Al-isti'adha is when you seek refuge in something, protection. Seeking protection to be protected from something. The jinn, harm, your enemy, an accident, misfortune. You can't come to me and say, Abu, I seek refuge in you from this evil that may happen to me for the rest of the night. If you do that, that's shirkum billah. We're not Christians, we're not Jews, we're not agnostics, we're not atheists, we're not Sikhs, we're not Hindus. We seek refuge and protection from Allah. Wahdahu la sharika lah. If you find yourself in Medina, do not go to the Prophet's grave and say, Ya Rasulullah, I seek refuge in you from any harm coming to me tonight. Don't do that. It's haram. If you do that, you are making shirk like Abu Lahab and Abu Jahl. Al-isti'adha, seeking protection of things. You only seek protection from Allah. Only. Even if you go to the police for help, you go to people to help your situation because someone's going to harm you, first and foremost, you have to believe that they can only help you if Allah give them the power and the ability. Al-isti'adha. So the Prophet ﷺ, after every prayer, he used to read Surah Al-Ikhlas, and he used to read the last 2 surahs of the Quran. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. I seek refuge in Allah, the Lord of the falaq, of the who created the way that the whole thing is, the universe and the al-falaq, the all that solar system, the one who created all of that. Even today, 2024, these people don't know what's out there. When I was growing up, there were only 9 planets. That's all. It was 9 planets. It's more planets than that right now. They keep it simple for people right now. There are planets, there are solar systems inside of solar system. There are quasars, there's all of that stuff that they're finding out about right now. It used to just be 9. Venus, Uranus, Mars, Pluto, Earth, like it's only 9. It was 9 when I was small. Now they have planets like 24XY. It's so many of them. So the person says, A'udhu bi rabbil falaq. And then the next one, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil nas. Malikin nas. Ilahin nas. You only can seek refuge, assistance, help with Allah. The Prophet would take Hassan and Hussein and say to them, "U'idukuma bikalimatillah." I seek Allah's protection in the perfect words of Allah for you two, and the kalam of Allah, because Allah's kalam is perfect. Your kalam is not perfect. My kalam is not perfect. Just a few minutes ago, I mixed up what I was trying to say. Allah's kalam, you can seek refuge in Allah's kalam, in Allah Azza wa Jal only. If Allah's kalam was created, it would be allowed for you, in essence, to seek refuge and protection in that thing which was created. You can go to something that's created and say, hey, you're a big wrestler. You have power and ability. I want you to help me. You're a good lawyer. I want you to come help me in the court. But in your mind and in your heart, you have to understand, if Allah doesn't make it successful, it's not going to happen. You don't believe in this guy and his ability. You believe Allah is the one who makes that right. And how many people went to court with good lawyers, believing that the lawyer was going to help him, and it didn't work? He lost. That's why you got to believe and you seek protection in Allah. So the kalam of Allah is perfect. Kalam of Allah is from his characteristics. It is the only thing you can seek refuge in and protection. Everything else, you can seek refuge and protection secondarily, dependent upon Allah Azza wa Jal. If it wasn't the kalam of Allah, as those people say. So when the Prophet ﷺ used to seek refuge in Allah in these words, or when we do a shift, there's a lady, her name is Khawla bintu Hakim. She says she heard the Prophet say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, anytime someone is traveling in the earth, he's going to travel from Orlando and he's going to go somewhere else. Whenever you stop on the way and you say, A'udhu bi kalimatillah at-tamma min sharri ma khalaqa, I seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah from the evil of what he created. Rasulullah said, if you say that dua on your way before you get there, every time you stop, nothing will hurt you. Nothing. You won't get bit by a scorpion, won't get bitten by a snake, the wall won't fall on you, anything like that. But you seek refuge in the perfect words of Allah, because Allah's words are not created. So if he allowed us to seek refuge in something that was created, that would be shirkun billah. That's the third thing. The third thing. Number four. Allah Azza wa Jalla is perfect, and everything else is not perfect. Even Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not perfect. He's perfect nisbatan, relatively speaking. As a human being, he's the most perfect human being. But he's not perfect like Allah. Meaning what? He was born to a man and a woman. He was born and he had his mother carried him from 9 months. He came out and he was delivered like every man and woman were delivered, with all of what was going on with that. Doesn't deserve to be worshipped. He's the Sayyid of Bani Adam, no doubt, no doubt. But he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used to sweat. He used to get afraid. He used to go to the toilet, akramakumullah. He used to go to sleep. He would forget sometimes, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I don't mention that to put him down. I mention that to make a point. He doesn't deserve to be worshipped. Allah told him in many ayat of the Quran, tell them, Ya Muhammad, if I knew the unseen, no harm would ever touch me. But harm touched him. He got hit in his head, got his teeth knocked out. He was hit with rocks. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was forced out of his house. All of us, as we sit here, no one, absolutely no one, is going to just come to you and say, get out of your house, and you're going to get out. You're going to stand at the door and you're going to defend yourself. This is what are you talking about? Now, if the Popo came and they had guns and stuff like that, and their lights and sirens were outside, you're going to say, okay, I vacate the premises. But even then, you're going to give them a hard time. Even then. The Nabi left Mecca. He left his property. His companions were killed. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Their money was confiscated. If he was Allah, if he had power and might, it would have never happened. Do you think our little brother Ali, if Ali was perfect and he had the ability to deal with the Zionists, they wouldn't be dealt with today, right now. They would be dealt with right now if it was left up to any one of us. But we can't do anything about it in ourselves. No one here can do anything about that. No one. Because you're da'if. Collectively, we're da'if. As Allah mentioned, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Mankind has been created weak. No one here, not anybody here, can stop what happened. I don't know if you brothers saw what happened 2 days ago, 3 days ago, with that bomb that went and blew up those people in that camp. And that Palestinian man held a baby in his hand, and that baby's head was cut off. Just seeing that alone, if we had the ability, I wouldn't destroy the innocent from the Yahud, because all the Yahud are not doing that. It's the Zionists. If it was up to me, I would deal with them. An intiqam that only Allah would know the level of it. But I'm weak. Can't do anything about that. I can't do anything, and together we can't do anything about it. Nothing. And the Prophet himself, he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, didn't have the ability within himself to do that. So listen, if the Quran was created, if it was created, it wasn't from the kalam of Allah Azza wa Jalla, then that means that the kalam of Allah has some deficiency, some naqs in it. وَالْأَمْرُ لَيْسَ كَذَلِكَ. Allah sent the Torah, Allah sent the Injil, Allah sent the Zabur, Allah sent the Suhuf of Ibrahim and of Musa, and whatever books he sent, whatever, and they were all perfect. All of them were perfect. And this is from the shubahat of those people, ilm al-kalam. If the revelation was the kalam of Allah, how can mankind come and change it? A'udhu billah. A'udhu billah. The companions never said that stuff. If the Quran was the kalam of Allah, right now, there are translations of the Quran that I warn you, don't read those translations. They're a problem. Right now. Don't read. And the translation is not the Quran in the first place anyway. It's not the translation. The translation is not the Quran. But their translation, I would say, don't read that stuff. Don't read it. Or don't read the tafsir of it. Like Muhammad Yusuf Ali. That was a translation that was available when I was a new Muslim. I don't even think people read that anymore. It's obsolete. But also Pickthall and others. So, philosophy. If the Quran and those other books were the kalam of Allah, how can it be changed? يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَنْ مَوَاضِعِهِ. The Yahud, they changed the words from his prophet. What are you talking about? لَا يُسْأَلُ عَمَّا يَفْعَلُ وَهُمْ يُسْأَلُونَ. Allah is not asked why he does what he does. Why does he allow what he allows? But you will be asked, hey, what's happening in Palestine? Can we say, why does Allah allow that to happen? If he's really Allah, why? Why did Allah allow those prophets and messengers to get killed like that? We don't ask those questions. Allah is the Lord of all the world. He's on top of things. Why didn't you get married yet? Why don't you have babies? Why do you only have girls? Why did you lose your job? We don't ask that question. Why is it that this individual over here, this person, they suffer from mental health issues and this one over here doesn't? Allah does what he wants to do. And in the final resolve, everybody is going to find that they were dealt with gently, they were dealt with rahmah, and they were dealt with justly. So there is a poem that a famous poet wrote concerning the fall of Al-Andalus. You guys know what Al-Andalus is in Arabic? Al-Andalus in English. You guys know what it is? Al-Andalusia. You guys know what that is? Spain. Spain reached the epitome, man. Europe. Spain. You guys think of Barcelona when you think about Spain. I don't know about football except that I was in the UK, so I know Barcelona. Real Madrid. I used to call it Real Madrid. They used to say it ain't Real Madrid. I say it's Real Madrid to me. Spain, the Moors and the Muslims, those people were on another level in terms of, just society. And then it fell. And in the falling of Spain is an ayah. But the man who wrote that poem, it's a tremendous poem. He wrote a line of poetry. He said, لِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ إِذَا مَا تَمَّ نُقْصَانُ. Everything, if it doesn't reach a peak, and it won't, then it is deficient. You're deficient, I'm deficient. Whenever you travel, the dua of the traveler is that we say, Astawdi'akullah, Astawdi'akumullah alladhi la tudi'u wada'ihu. I leave your affairs in Allah's hands. When the traveler is traveling, he says, Allahumma inna nas'aluka fi safrina hadha al-birr wa taqwa wa min al-amali ma tarda. Allahumma hawwan alayna safrina hadha wa twi anna bu'duhu. Allahumma anta sahibu fi safar wal khalifatu fil ahl. Oh Allah, you are my companion when I'm traveling, and you're the Khalifa in my family when I leave. When I leave, I don't know what's happening with my family. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know. And they're the most beloved people to you. No one wants anything to happen to their baby. No one. But when he travels, he doesn't have anything. And now, alhamdulillah, we got these phones. These phones make it easy. You're in contact. 20, 25, 30 years ago, that wasn't part of the equation. You travel, you don't know what's going on with your family. And even with these phones, you don't know what's going on with your family. Look at social media, all these crazy people who are doing what they're doing. So everybody is weak. Every creation is weak. Everybody. Rasulullah is weak, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he's strong, relatively speaking. He's the strongest human being, the example. But he couldn't help himself. He couldn't benefit himself. He couldn't push off of himself harm. His uncle got killed, Hamza. His companions got killed. His children they died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If it was up to him, everybody would become a Muslim from the people we wanted. So the Quran is complete because it is a characteristic from the characteristics of Allah. The Quran is the kalam of Allah, and it is not created. It's one of its characteristics. Before I go on to the next point, I got to remember this. I got to mention this. When you go to the court of law and those people say to you, you want to swear on the Bible? You want to swear on the Bible? It's up to you to say, no, I don't want to swear on the Bible. Depends on your case. It depends on your case. In the UK, they say, you want to swear on the Quran? Some people say yes. And some people say no. Yeah, I want to swear on the Quran. Why? Because the Quran is the kalam of Allah. It is a characteristic, a sifa from his characteristics. His izzah, his rahmah, his hilm. It's up to you. It's up to you. This is an issue out there in the atmosphere that the scholars of Islam spoke about. Did the companions do that? No. But the companions, Rasulullah used to say, wa izzatillah, by Allah's honor, by Allah's might, bi quwwatillah. The kalam is the izzah, it says kalam, it says rahmah, it's all of that. It's all of that. And even if the person feels I'm going to swear on the Bible, and my niyyah is, because the Bible has been changed, my niyyah is what is true in the Bible. I'm only bringing this to your attention not to cause confusion, because this particular issue of the Quran being created, it is a problem. It's a problem. Why? Because we don't have majalis of al-ilm in our communities. If the Muslims in this city and in other places were coming together and learning their religion, it wouldn't be a shubha, it wouldn't be a problem. But we don't have that. So you have to be careful about what you introduce to the people. You have to be careful about that. But it is an issue that is out there. I'm going to go and I'm black, me, Abu Osama. I'm going to stand before that judge. I'm going to go. The judge comes in, they say, all rise. I don't want to stand up at all. Because the companions didn't stand up to the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But if I don't stand up, I'm going to be in trouble. They're going to say, why you didn't stand up to the judge? Strike number 2, because you're already coming in the door and you black. That's strike number 2. You wanna swear on the Bible? No. Strike number 3. Strike number 3. Moving forward, not getting too deep in this issue, we can talk about this. I just don't want anybody to sit there and just say, what? What is he talking about? We could talk about this. The Quran is the kalam of Allah, and it is a characteristic of Allah Azza wa Jal. A characteristic, like his izzah, like his knowledge, like his power, and so forth and so on. The next point, 20, is the issue of from him it came, and from him, or even before that, the Quran was sent down. It was sent down. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in Mecca, walking on the face of the earth. The Quran came down to him. The Quran is not Muhammad's creation. The Quran is not Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was the one who introduced. No, it's not from him. It's not from a jinn. It's not from the Christian who said he wrote. No, it came from Allah who's over the 7 heavens, and he sent it down. And this is established with a tawatur. A tawatur means there are many ayat. Not 1, not 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There are ayat and ahadith that establish that the Quran came down. Inna nahnu nanzalna ilayka dhikr wa inna lahu lahafidhun. Verily, Allah sent down to you the dhikr, ya Muhammad. Allah sent it down. It didn't start with Muhammad. It started with Allah. It's not Jibril. Jibril went and got the Quran from the Law al-Mahfuz after it was all revealed there. Inna anzalnahu like a Laylatul Qadr. We sent it down to you Laylatul Qadr. It was revealed Laylatul Qadr, and Jibril went and got it from there and brought it down for 23 years. It's not from Jibril. It's not from Muhammad. It's not from Jibril. It came down from Allah all at one time. Like the Torah, like the Injil, and those books that Allah revealed previously. So some of these people, they come and they say that the Quran came from Muhammad. The Quran came from Jibril. The Quran came from a jinn. The homework assignment is bring back the definition of the Quran according to the ulama of Islam. The Quran is from Allah Azza wa Jal. It came down. The last issue is the Quran began with Allah and it's going to return to Allah. The Quran began with Allah. He sent it down. and it's going to return back to him. It began with Allah in that Allah revealed it all, and he sent it down, and Jibril went and got it over a 23-year period. And when we come and deal with the issue of the qadr, that everything Allah knows what happened before it happened. There were ayat that came down, and these things already happened. You're going to find that out when we deal with this, inshallah. From Allah it began, and to Allah it returns. What does it mean it returns to Allah? The Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the Quran is going to go back up to the heavens in one night, to the point where there doesn't remain in the earth one ayat of the Quran. He says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's going to happen at a time when the people don't know what is salat, they don't know what is zakat, they don't know what som is, they don't know what hajj is. It's going to be that bad. The Muslims are not going to know what salat is. No one is going to know what salat is. No one. One of the companions, when he mentioned this to the people, his student from the Tabi'een, the companion said, the Quran will be raised up to Allah. The Prophet said in one night, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim won't be known. Qul huwallahu ahad won't be known. Yasin won't be known. Qaf, Sad, Alif, Lam, Mim. Muslims won't know that. They don't know that. The only thing that they'll know, the only thing is La ilaha illallah. That's all they know. The Tabi'i said, and La ilaha illallah is going to benefit them? He said, yes, La ilaha illallah is going to benefit them, because that's what the situation is at that time, right before Yawm al-Qiyamah. And that man kept saying, what? They don't know salat, zakat, som, hajj, none of that? He said, they won't know any of that. He said, and that's going to benefit them? He said, La ilaha illallah is going to benefit them. Despite your nose, although you find it hard, despite you, because that's the condition of the Muslims. And that time is coming. That time is coming. You go to any masjid and you ask the normal Muslim, what are the 5 arkan of al-Islam? You'll be hard pressed to find one masjid where everyone will give you the arkan of al-Islam, all 5 of them. One may be able to do it, but everyone in that masjid won't be able to do it. The arkan of Islam is from the basics of Islam. Our children, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, what are the 5 arkan of al-Islam? He doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. We don't know that. We as parents, we know that. Some of us, we know that. It's just going to continuously get worse and worse and worse and worse. And that's all the people are going to know at some point. And Yawm al-Qiyamah will be established, and you won't find anybody in the earth saying Allah, Allah. They won't even be saying Allah. And that's when Yawm al-Qiyamah will be established. I'm the worst people. I'm the worst people. So that's the meaning that you'll find in all of those books like As-Sunnah. All of those books. From him, the Quran began, and to him, the Quran will return. And there are some statements where the companions mentioned this to people, and the people said, you mean to tell us, La ilaha, you mean to tell us the Quran won't be in their minds and their hearts? The companions said, it won't be in their minds, it won't be in their hearts, it won't be written down. It's all going to be taken up. All of it is going to be taken up. All of it. That's the meaning of that particular statement. So those are the 6 issues that we wanted to mention and wanted to say to you, adding on to that. Don't get tripped out, freaked out, spaced out, that we mentioned when you go to the court, you can swear. Don't get those. Put that behind you. Ask me that question, we'll deal with it. Or any other question. The Quran is the kalam of Allah. It's the kalam of Allah. It was not created. And this issue is a big issue in Islam. The other last thing that I want to mention is some people will say today, oh, why are you mentioning these things right now? This stuff is from the Asatil Awwaleen. This is from the ancients. It's not from the ancients. All of those crazy groups that were there before in the past, they're here right now. The Murji'ah are here right now. The Murji'ah say, I don't have to do anything. Iman is in my heart. I don't have to pray. I don't have to fast. I don't have to wear hijab. I don't have to do anything. Allah knows my heart. That's here right now. The Rafida, they curse the companions. Here right now. Right now. The Mu'tazila, the Asha'ira. I know African Americans who are on this Asha'ira stuff. Trying to tell them guys, and I hope they hear me right now. That nonsense that you brothers are talking to our community, African Americans, Bubba and Babette and Rufus and Taquila and all our people, that stuff ain't going to help our people. You better call our people to the Tawheed of Allah and to the correct Sunnah of the Nabi. All of this ilmul kalam. Ilmul kalam. It's all it is. It's just rhetoric. We just have simple people with us. Simple people with us. Easy people. They want to be on the religion, the aqeedah of the companions. Who, when this stuff came to them, Allah's names and his attributes, they didn't ask all of these questions. And they didn't create all of these shubahat. So this is what we wanted to present today. And trust me, Ikhwani, this issue can get deeper, but it would just be ilm al-kalam. And I got to share this with you. Oh, wow. Oh, we got 4 minutes. I got to share this with you. And I want to be honest with you. When I went to Medina and I sat there in a class and the teacher started teaching us this stuff about Al-Iman, the book of Ibn Taymiyyah, and what different Muslim groups were saying about Al-Iman, I was sitting there as a new Muslim saying, come on, man. What's all this kalam? What is this? The religion, all of this kalam, it was freaking me out as a new Muslim. So what is all of this? Just keep it simple. What did Abu Bakr and Uthman and Ali, what did they say? What did they do? That's all I want. But they taught us this stuff in order to show us that this stuff is out there. And lo and behold, in 2024, I'm dealing with people, or I have dealt with people, and you will be exposed to people on the internet who they make big deals about this stuff, especially in the UK. I don't want to mention names. But there were some Pakistani kids over there who, they went quiet now, but 6 months ago, they were jumping up and down, trying to defend the aqeedah of the Asha'ira about stuff like this, explaining Allah's names and his attributes away. And now we have these African American people in Atlantic City and other than that doing the same thing. This madness is out there, where the religion of Islam is simple and easy. The aqeedah of Islam, simple and easy. It's for the regular people and that guy, people who see the footprints of the camel in the sand. You don't have to be you don't have to be what, Pakistani? What? A what? Yeah, you don't, I thought you said Pakistani. You don't have to be a neurosurgeon. You don't have to be a neurosurgeon to understand the simple aqeedah of Islam. Are there issues that are very high in Islam? Yes. The science of al-jarh wa ta'deel, it's high. The science of usul fiqh, it can be high. The qira'at of the Quran, it can be high. The Arabic language, it can be high. There are sciences, and it's for its people. But for the most part, any Amr, Bakr, and Zayd can practice his religion and know what his religion is. So we have 2 minutes left, inshallah. I just want to take this opportunity to let you brothers know that we have a new brother in our community. He came today, and that's Abdi. Abdi, did you say it was some Kismayo? Kismayo. Kismayo is in the southern part of Somalia. Kismayo is there by the ocean. And the non-Muslims are dumping nuclear waste in that place and fishing and taking all their fish. Because Somalia has no stability. You know, Black Hawk Down, Black Hawk Down. You guys know Black Hawk Down? He's from that area in Kismayo. His name is Abdi from Somalia. So I'm not going to go through everybody's name, Abdi. It's a lot of people here today. And I know you won't remember that. But don't leave this masjid without giving everybody salam. And you guys don't leave the masjid without giving our brother Abdi salam. In Somalia, that's what they say. They say Abdi. His name is not Abdullah. It's not Abdul Ilah. It's Abdi. Let's do the Sufi dhikr. Abdi. Together. The Quran is the kalam of Allah. Minhu bada'a wa ilayhi ya'ud. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Anybody have any questions?